Have you ever wondered if there's like a hidden order to all of humanity? Some kind of system that could sort every single person on the planet? Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating and, yeah, maybe a little controversial philosophical framework that claims to do just that. It's called the 18 Grades of Life. And honestly, it might just change how you look at everyone and maybe even yourself. So, the big question this system kicks off with is a pretty bold one. Can every single person, from a total saint to a hardened criminal, be neatly placed into one of 18 distinct grades? It sounds kind of wild, right? But the whole framework is built on one single core idea.
And that big idea? It's something the author calls spiritual content. Just think of it like this. It's the percentage of spirituality, of wisdom, and self-awareness inside a person's nature. The more spiritual content you have, the higher your grade. So it's got nothing to do with how much money you have or your job title. It's all about your inner world.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for this journey. We're going to start at the very, very top with the transcendent few. Then we'll meet the purpose-driven pillars, the people who actually build our world. After that, we'll explore the big, messy spectrum where, let's be honest, most of us live. Then we'll go down into the levels run by more worldly desires. And we'll wrap it all up with the most important question. Is any of this set in stone?
First up, let's talk about the absolute peak of the pyramid, grades 1 through 3. These are the transcendent few. We're talking about people who have basically moved beyond all the typical struggles and wants of the material world.
These folks are operating on a totally different level. They're not chasing a promotion or a bigger house, not at all. They're defined by this deep, deep wisdom, a laser focus on faith and ideals, and this profound sense of being detached from all the noise of society. All they really want is inner peace.
The first grade, the highest of the high, is described as being able to see the universe as it really is, just in a constant state of motion and change. They get the why behind everything. They're like messengers of a higher truth, totally free from their own ego.
So, you've got that enlightened messenger up at grade 1. Then, in grade 2, you have people who live by this unwavering faith, serving as moral anchors for the rest of us. And right below them, at grade 3, you find the content hermit. This is the person who finds incredible wisdom in just simplicity. They totally get that real peace comes from being self-sufficient and just avoiding all the world's drama. They would much rather perfectly cultivate their own small garden than get tangled up in trying to conquer the world.
All right, coming down from those solitary peaks, we find the purpose-driven pillars. These are grades 4 through 7. Now, these people aren't detached from society at all. In fact, they are the ones who are actively building it and shaping it, all driven by this powerful inner mission.
And this group is super diverse, which is cool. You've got the grade 4 artists who are just compelled to create for the sake of creation, not for fame. You've got grade 6 folks who find their ultimate purpose in raising the next generation. And this tier also includes those brilliant strategic minds and the charismatic leaders who really steer the course of history.
A really key player here is the 5th grade person. This is the ultimate number 2. They are strategic geniuses, fiercely loyal, and just brilliant at getting things done. But here's the catch. They have zero desire to be the one in charge. Think of that trusted advisor behind every great leader in history. That is a 5th grade person, right there.
And at the top of this tier, we find the 7th grade, the revolutionary. I mean, these are just natural-born leaders. They have this incredible charisma and this deep, unshakable mission to help people and to fix society. They see the suffering of others as their own, and they have the guts to create massive, sweeping change.
Okay, now we're getting to the real heart of the spectrum, grades 8 through 12. This is where the framework says the vast, vast majority of us live. It's a huge range of mindsets that I'm willing to bet will feel pretty familiar.
This slide just perfectly nails the two opposite poles of this middle section. Over on the left, you've got the 8th grade contented person. They love the simple things, they're at peace, and for them, good enough is, well, perfect. But then you look to the right, and there's the 12th grade perfectionist who is always anxious, always looking at what other people have, and always feels like nothing is ever, ever good enough.
And here's the real kicker. The source for this framework claims that this 12th grader, the person who's always dissatisfied, always striving, makes up over half of the entire population. Just let that sink in. It suggests that most of us are living in this state of constant, quiet frustration, always comparing ourselves to somebody else.
Also in this middle group is the 11th grade, the love-obsessed.
For this person, their entire world, their whole sense of purpose and what's real, it all revolves around romantic love. Everything else just fades into the background. For them, love isn't just a part of life, it is life. Okay, now we're going down into the lowest grades, 13 through 18. This group is called the worldly and lost. And the big defining feature here is that their spiritual content is super low. They're mostly driven by things like ego, greed, and other really basic desires.
As you go down this list, you can see the values just completely fall apart. It starts with the 13th grade, who are all about strategically chasing status. Then it moves to the 14th, who are obsessed with money, just for the sake of having money. And from there, it just goes downhill to the 15th, who only live for a quick thrill, until you get to the very bottom, where the moral compass is just totally shattered.
So let's take a closer look at grade 16. The author describes this person as just fundamentally selfish. We all know this person, right? They're the ones who cut in line, blast music without a thought for their neighbors, and just blow off their family obligations. Their whole worldview is me first, and they could not care less about how their actions affect anyone else.
And then we hit rock bottom, the 8th grade. Their philosophy is a total 180-degree flip of common morality. They genuinely believe it's smarter and easier to take than to create. I mean, why get a job when you can just rob a bank? Why build something when you can just plunder it? And the crucial thing to get here is this isn't just selfish anymore. It's a whole worldview that actively celebrates being destructive and parasitic.
So after that whole journey from the wisest sage all the way down to the thief, you might be feeling a little categorized. But the author doesn't just leave us there. The final and honestly most important part of this whole thing is about the potential to change. And this, right here, is the core takeaway. Your grade isn't a life sentence. It's not permanent ink. It's just a snapshot of where you are right now. According to this philosophy, every single person, no matter where they fall on this spectrum, has the power to change, to grow, and to elevate their own spiritual content.
And the path forward is laid out as a pretty clear 4-step process. It all starts with looking inward, getting really clear on what life truly means to you. From there, you work on finding that inner peace. Then, you have to actively start changing your behaviors and your mindset, and through that, you can ultimately elevate your spirit to a higher grade.
So there you have it. The framework of the 18 grades of life. It's a lens, right? A way of looking at the world and at ourselves. So the final question it leaves us with isn't really, where are you now? But something much more powerful. Where do you want to go from here? It's a pretty big thought to end on.